Coming to you live from downtown Denver on the corner of Colfax and York, right above the DNVR bar from the Toyota Lounge. We are driven by our Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, live vicariously up the PIDs, I think is actually their slogan. They are a proud partner of the Colorado Rapids.
I wonder if Rapids gifted Armas a Toyota for him to get out of town.
Toyota walks in the light of Rapid, man.
They do. Some would say they drive in the light of Rapid Man.
I feel like we're walking in a deep, dark shadow of Rapid Man these days. Does that sound right?
I think that's right. I think Rapid Man is Halloween time.
I feel like I'm being waterboarded by Rapid Man. That's a good. Honestly, of all the Rapid intros we've done, maybe my best one. We've got some friends already in the Toyota chat. Come one, come all. Tell your friends. We'll hit your comments when we get to them. Okay, nonsense aside, I'm Andre Simone. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, super
something
rundown writer, the reader, the leader for La Raza, El Pueblo, everyone in Rapids world. He's our true representative, Yahir Vazquez.
I am the underbelly of the Rapids world. I am literally what they tell you to stay away from at Rapids games.
The deep, dark underbelly.
They don't.
Of Rapids
I think
world.
I think you got a little Freudian slip there where you said the lesser, and I'm like,
run back the tape. Didn't say it.
I think you misspoke, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. The lesser.
I'm only going to announce you now to anyone as Yahir Vazquez, the underbelly of Rapids world.
Yeah, the shade of burgundy is a little darker.
I'm like the Slytherin of Rapids.
There's a tint of blood in that darker shade of burgundy.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
I'm on one. Shout out to the coffee shop next door that's got me caffeinated. And, of course, downtown Duane Brown, our little ray of sunshine, who, of course, has also been tarnished by this Rapid season. He, too, runs a little darker.
But it's the off season now, baby.
Oh!
We're so full of hope now.
Yeah, no.
Oh, honestly. Man. So many things.
Air horns forever to the off season. Hope springs eternal. Thank you, super producer Dion. So yeah, boys, we've got a packed show. Do not want to miss this. We've got Crash in the Toyota chat. What up, Crash? Yeah, the people want to know who's next. Next man up, because Armas is out. What an eventful 2-year tenure that was. We dreamt, we hoped, we got some wins against RSL. We got a playoff run, playoff embarrassment. I mean, wow.
Leagues
been all
Cup,
over.
Podium finish.
We will forever have Mitch's amazing feature on Armas and the kind of caring, invested leader he was.
Dude, so much work for it to be done in 2 years.
No doubt. There
Sorry,
you go.
Guys.
No, that was fitting. If you want to do
guys.
if you want to do the whole show with your iPad blasting other sounds, I think that'd be.
He's bringing up season highlights.
And immediately it just ended. It was 3 seconds of going go, and then it was like that.
It's literally just Rapid Man bleeding out slowly but surely. Man. Yeah, folks, this was I think you guys had lost hope that this wasn't going to happen. That Armas was very much in, and they were going to run it back.
I was convinced he was still in.
That would be the KSU way. Instead, wasn't fired. Contract ran out. They
mutually decided.
They're moving on.
Move on.
Which the timing, I do think, suggests, mutually decided. That's what you say. Like, oh yeah, my wife left me. We mutually decided
to divorce. Yeah,
I'm living in my car and want to kill myself every day.
We mutually decided that's my new
nothing
home.
mutual about it. That hasn't happened, sweetie. Thank you for sticking with me. God bless you. The timing of it does seem like there were maybe negotiations on the table and they couldn't figure things out. We will find out more with the press conference that occurs tomorrow. But he is out. Armas was definitely talking differently the last month or so of his tenure as a Rapids coach, with the Georgie transfer and him suggesting on Altitude Radio that he was not involved, and Padraig kind of backtracking on that and being like, no, Chris is involved in all the decisions we make. Of course, we ran this by him. And then, you know, some of the post-game pressers where he was kind of putting pressure on the team to get a deal done. And then the inevitable failure to reach the playoffs, the downward spiral they were on for since the summer hit.
Yep.
All led to this. So your immediate reactions, let's start with you.
I think it's the right move. I really do think it's the right move. As much as Chris brought to the table, and I think he exceeded my expectations. I'll say that. But just because he exceeded them doesn't mean that it's up to par for what the team should be and what the league should be. He brought excitement. He brought a style of play that could have been fun. You saw more goals being scored under Armas than you saw Frazier. It wasn't just a defensive game where you're dropping back. It was a fun style of football. He just didn't produce. You don't get brownie points for being a good guy. You don't get to stick around for being a good guy. You stick around by winning. And whether that's all on him or not, that's up to debate. But this team lacked an identity all year long. This team lacked an identity last year towards the end, and they never really found their footing. And that's partly on the coach after you invested so much money on the roster.
Yeah. Duane?
I'm screwed.
Nice.
I'm a pretty good guy, but I'm not a winner. So according to Yaya, I'm on my way out.
Yes. No.
Mutually, though. It's mutual.
Thank God you're not the Rapids coach.
It wasn't for the Toyota check keeping you around. Yeah. Duane out would have occurred many.
Hashtag Duane.
Hashtag Duane. Get that trending, check. Get that trending.
Brown out.
Brown out. Oh. Yeah. Lots of whiteouts in college football. You never hear of a brown out, you know.
I'm bringing it. It's
some of the troughs they have in these stadium,
Yeah, I'm surprised. This is a non...
You lost hope.
Well, not lost hope. It's the Rapids. It's the Rapids. Hope comes and hope goes.
He was praying to Rapid, man, every day.
It would be the most Rapids thing for Chris to still be here.
Yeah?
Far worse coaches in the past 10 years have gotten longer tenures than Chris.
No doubt.
Some real bad coaches.
Now, some of those are doing pretty well in other stops.
One of them is not. He did just get another job somehow. Shocking. I'll let you guys do your own research.
Name. I miss Pablo so much.
Not Pablo.
You have a bad perception of Pablo, but he's been a winner after he left the Rapids.
No, that's not Pablo. I'm not talking about Pablo.
I know.
I know. But I'm just, as an aside, I miss Pablo.
Yeah,
of
I thought
course.
He said I miss Pablo, and then you're like, and I was like,
I would not badmouth.
Pablo. He's the
it sucks where he's at
who
right
left
now.
me mutually, and
yeah.
I cry myself to sleep in
For
my
sure.
car thinking, boy, I miss Pablo.
it feels like more like the guy that cheated on you with your wife, and
He went to he went to your mortal enemies.
I know.
House. Yeah. Anyway, that's Pablo. Chris, I really did think all signs were pointing towards him being back. It's certainly a very Rapids thing would have been to keep him on.
Very KSC thing.
Yeah. So I was surprised that after only 2 years, a coach leaves. That's not very Rapids. And everybody wants to win, right? Myself included. So if this means that there's going to be a coach that's going to be able to figure out, like Yaya says, a vision for this club, like what is our identity? For me, it was a lot of the lineups and the roster decisions and guys playing out of position. If someone can come in and figure out this roster and make it into a winner, we're all going to be happier. I'll be happier. I'm for it. The bummer is that Chris Armas is a human being. So, you always feel bad.
Being.
Yeah.
Yep.
You always are sad when someone you genuinely like, record stats aside, Chris Armas is the one coach. And I've met a few, not with DNVR, but even as a fan before DNVR, met several coaches over the years. He is the one coach far and above any other coach I've seen with the Rapids that has made it a priority to connect with fans.
Yeah.
He's the one coach, both as a fan and as, guys who sit around and talk to the team and are at post games and stuff, that I actually felt comfortable with. Like, he wasn't like, oh, it's the coach, like we can't talk to coach.
Really nice face of the club.
Yeah.
Yep. Really nice, like, leader.
Yeah. So it's
that
like,
you
I
could
just
believe
hope
in,
good things
trust,
for him, like best wishes for him. I hope he lands somewhere where he gets the roster that works with what he's building, and it's good for everybody,
Yeah, we'll get into some of the turning points and what led us to this point, but the book on him, like some coaches in other sports, was that year one's good and his shtick kind of exhausts itself and runs a little thin and runs dry after a year or so, and that seemed to kind of play out, not being able to build on the year one success, but kind of regress. And, the storyline, much to our chagrin in the off season, that the organization was trying to push was, we've gotten better and we've gotten younger. And as we were talking about, there was maybe a bit of a Michael Malone, Calvin Booth dynamic where the choices Armas was making on field didn't seem to line up with getting younger and embracing the youth movement and developing the young guys. Though, boy, I do think if all of Coup Di Pietro's posts were goals, probably a 5 seed. But that's not how soccer works. That's not how soccer works. That's sports for you.
That's also just luck, man. Like,
yeah,
it sounds weird, but it's also like maybe Chris is just not meant to be here. Like,
yeah,
like some of these guys sometimes are just not meant to be in a certain situation, and the universe, whatever you want to call it, just finds a way to kick you out. Of
we call it the Rapid verse.
The Rapid, because it does feel like everybody just comes here and fails.
I know. That is my fear in all of this, that like Pablo will look back in a couple of years and be like, oh man, Chris is doing real nice work in
Red Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. And like, turns out we are in fact the problem. Not this podcast. I wish we had that much control over the
I wouldn't even say we.
Someday.
And I think we'll get into it a little bit later in the show.
Blame game.
Which is I'm so excited for that. But it just Chris Armas firing, it feels inevitable. Since he got hired almost. It feels like it was gonna come. It always felt like a 2-year prove it. He proved it the first year kind of. Mm-hmm. But then the second year it just floundered. And how you guys are saying, he's a great face of the club. But even kind of talking to some of the guys privately and some of the players, never talked negatively about Chris. Always loved him. But you could tell when it was time to compare a coach to coach or kind of talk to him about what they thought of the style of play, they had some opinions or reservations of kind of hyping up what they're doing at the club right now. Yeah. So it felt like some of
that showed on field.
Yeah, and it like I think players were also like kind of tired of it. And I think part of this move was brought to you by like the players and what they thought. They could have loved the guy, but that doesn't mean they agree with what's going on the field.
And Georgie leaving and not believing in the project, I think, was also one of the first showings of some of those cracks, and that's right. As a leader, as a face of the franchise, you're the one kind of keeping people invested, keeping people together. Georgie with Chris had really become the face of the team, the guy who gave it an off-field identity. And that's where we started to see like, maybe things aren't, maybe there isn't this harmonious Burgundy world that we kind of imagined with Chris at the helm. So Yeah, lots to get into. Where do we go from here? Blame game. What are the real expectations for this franchise going forward? There's a lot on the table. We're going to hit that all on the other side. Because first, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Toyota, presenting studio sponsors, sponsoring the chat where I see Oscar, I see James, I see Crash. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Leave us a thumbs up, please. But, Toyota, they're not just real homies. They're also the perfect Colorado car. Trucks, SUVs, four-wheel, all-wheel drive cars. That's just Toyota's identity through and through. It's part of their DNA, man. It's why I always say they are the perfect Colorado car to get in your car, play hooky at work, go west, young man, and get lost in our beautiful, beautiful state in your Toyota. Their reliability, all the eco-friendly options they have. They're just an outstanding car manufacturer. So check them out if you are in the market for a new vehicle. Everyone at DNVR who drives a Toyota swears by it. So you should visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, a proud partner of the Colorado Rapids and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places, or up the pids, as they say. And also a shout out to our friends at Dick's Sporting Goods. Of course, you guys know about the Richard, and you know about Dick's Sporting Goods. It's the perfect place to go shop locally and get your gear, whether you're in the market for the latest and greatest brands like Nike, Adidas, even DNVR, and so much more, including soccer gear. Score some of the best equipment for baseball, football, soccer, basketball, golf, all your tailgating essentials. Dick's has you covered. And you can find it all at a lower price because they'll match it with their best price guarantee. There's never a bad time to go shop at Dick's. Get your gear fast with free curbside pickup at your nearest store or easy shipping from Dicks.com, because every season starts at Dick's. Yeah, boys, let's get right into it. Where did it all go wrong? What's because gosh, we can go back a while here. I have like 5 bullet points of where it all went wrong. And I think we touched on one, which is Georgie leaving and not believing in the sporting project. Goes way further than just Chris. But I think that's one. What other turning points stand out to you?
I almost go all the way back to game 1 of the season against St. Louis and not being able to score against that team. And that, to me, it just seemed like you had multiple opportunities and you weren't able to muster any scoring chances. Any goals. I feel like that's kind of like, that's a bad omen for the start of the season immediately. And then Cheeto leaving. Like, that's another one. Like, players just kind of jumping off the ship before it sank. Felt like they knew what was coming and they didn't want to stick around for it.
Do you have any real standout moments for you where it all went sour, Duane?
Not a standout moment, more of a consistent moment, string of moments, which we mentioned earlier, but it's guys playing out of position.
Yep.
And for me, that was a lingering problem for the Rapids as a squad,
a big one for me,
but also for individuals. After the last game, we talked to Cole after the match. He mentioned, he actually threw down, I can't remember, but he threw the number of games. It was something like, I've played out of position for 38 of these however many games. Like he was clearly aware that he's not a left winger, didn't want to be. So that was, Cole usually takes one for the team. He doesn't really talk about himself too much as far as what he's happy about and not happy about. So that was a big moment. Paxton also mentioned in that same post game about that's not how he's been playing as a 10. I do think that's a club level. They're pushing him into the 10. I don't really know that that's Armas per se, but
he can be the club's 10 as far as he's your playmaking offensive midfielder, but not also a classic number 10.
He's
on
not
the
a
pitch.
Georgie 10. He's a different.
He's a
Depending
Kevin
on
De
the
Bruyne
shape.
10, not a Georgie 10.
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Like that?
No, I don't.
No. Okay.
He hates everything I have to say.
I think he's a caca 10.
So not a good 10. He just called him a shit 10. That's what he was trying to say with it.
Respect of the Ballon d'Or winner, World Cup winner, Champions
Well, you call him
League
caca.
MVP.
That's literally translates to shit.
Famously, Juve's GM said that's why they didn't sign him from Brazil, was because his name was
Shit.
Also, never forget living in Italy. My mom, who's a teacher, coming home one day and being like, "So, Kaká, is he an actual player?" I was like, "I can see why you would be asking." She thought kids were up to rascally business, saying naughty words,
terrible words.
Yeah. Instead, it was just a
But
player's
saved
name.
by soccer, you can say all the bad words
That's
you want.
exactly right. You get it, Duane.
God bless Rapids.
Sorry to off-rail you.
That was a beautiful off-rail.
I think it's a
I
great
wouldn't have
point.
done that any different. If I had a time machine, I would have done that exactly the same.
I too feel like him inserting Atencio right off the bat, within a week of him coming to the team, not really having any of the camp and preseason, and never figuring out with the Atencio Ollie double six in
Ronan,
the midfield how to fit in Cole and maximize Cole, and this being a lost season for Cole, and then replacing Georgie with Pax and never figuring out how to use Pax the right way. And just the total going back and forth from a 3-man back line. And I mean, it just never could quite figure it out.
That's what I was about to say. It gets back to Yahya.
Yeah.
You know, Yaya's statement about identity. And
Yeah, no, it
as
was
a
completely
coach,
lacking.
I mean, it works hand in hand with the GM, right? Porg's part of it.
Yep.
But as the coach, you do have to figure out what that identity is.
100%.
And you have to build it and you have to make that your thing, you know?
Yep.
And I feel like what you're saying is we never got there. It was always in flux.
Yep.
Changes are fine. You have to adjust to your opponent, but it was just always constantly in flux.
And we got to at the start of the year, I had many more. These are the pillars of the Rapids squad. These are the guys I can count on than I did at the end of the year. At the end of the year, it was like, I don't know what their identity is. I don't know who's going to show up match day to match day. And they were just kind of lost. And to kind of regress the way they did throughout his 2-year tenure, I think was a big indictment on him. And also a bit of a misalignment with the front office who's giving you these players and then you not knowing how to maximize them. I mean, Yahya, you had plenty of criticisms on how he was using KSB and being able to maximize some of the younger players. We loved Ian Murphy early in the season, then didn't get much. The return to Ronan kind of out of desperation in some ways.
Santos being one of your better players in the final third of the season and then benching him in your last game made no sense.
No, we are the official Rafael Santos podcast in the world. So
we're actually working on a shirt where it's just the mask of El Santos Rapids.
Don't think I haven't already drawn that.
Why do you think I said we're working on a shirt?
I love that. And then more specific to on field, two games that really stand out to me. One is the second game of the season, or no, maybe the third or fourth game of the season. It's the second leg of that Champions Cup. Yeah, third game of the season, where you come in with a 2-1 lead. They play a really strong first half against LAFC. And I'm spending halftime thinking, oh my God, Chris is about to pull this off. He's about to upset LAFC in Champions Cup. The Rapids never do this, right? I mean, it's what I was so proud about Chris is the Leagues Cup run year one, and then for a second, believing in Champions Cup, and then them just laying such an egg in that second half, missing out, losing that, and Champions Cup just vanishing like that. And then that away game at Portland,
Yeah.
where again, they're nursing a lead in the first half. And I'm like, holy shit, they're about to do this. We never go to an away game at Portland and look good. We always get stomped. And I'm spending halftime thinking, they're going to do this. And then what is it? They either tie it up or we get a red in the second half, and the team looks shook. It's been a while since I've watched one of my teams and been like, damn, they don't want to be on the field right now.
Yep.
They need a break to regroup. And those are two big ones where it was like we were on the verge of doing something the Pids rarely are able to do, and then just laying such an egg in the second half, being shook and being the most like, yep, same old Rapids. So those are the two moments that really stand out to me as far as on-field performance.
Yeah, and Duane was talking to Crash in the comments. Kevin Cabral starting half the season. Kept starting.
Yeah.
Everybody and their grandmother could tell that guy did not deserve to be in the MLS, let alone the Rapids.
Maybe Kevin's grandma too.
I'm sure Kevin's grandma was like hitting him up. He's like, why don't you play like Remy? And it's like,
She's just texting him, little bro ass.
but it's like he like that's kind of the point. Like he had no reason being on that pitch, yet he started game and game and game, and that's one of the reasons Georgie wanted to leave, I bet. And I think he alluded to it when he said there's personnel out there that shouldn't be out there, and that's on Chris. Chris needs to make the decision, not for the front office. He needs to make it for the team.
Yeah.
He is the voice of the team. He has to be the guy that goes advocates for his guys to that room and being like, this is what we should be doing because we want to win. And it felt like Chris kind of lost that. And he could have done it. But at the end of the day, it's your squad. You decide who you put out there. And he bent the knee to the front office if they're telling him put him out there.
And it's also where I think Chris, the good guy, Chris, the guy who's invested in everyone in the locker room, Chris, who's trying to get everything out of everyone, the most out of everyone, and is genuinely invested, hurt Chris, the tactician.
Yeah.
And Cabral, I think, also hindered their ability to ever find some width, which was my concern coming into the offseason, was like, where is the width on this team? I trust the spine. I trust the guys they've got up the middle, but how are they going to find ways to be dangerous down the flanks? They never quite figured it out. I thought the closest they were to figuring it out was when they used the 5-man back line and you were able to bring Vineses and Rosenberry back in. But that only lasted so long, and I mean, the returns just weren't there. Again, KDP had some moments, but he could never bag the goals. He could only hit posts.
Yeah.
Blame game, though, fellas. I think we are, because everything we're dancing around here, yes, a lot of it falls on Chris. I also don't think all of it falls on Chris.
I actually think none of it falls on Chris.
I'm
actually of the thought, as much as like
that's a big statement from you
I'm not an Armas guy.
Not an Armas coach guy.
As I'm looking at his signature right here, right now, pretty crazy to say, but I think none of this falls on Chris, man. And we've talked about this for so long. To me, this falls down on Porig for hiring Armas and not giving them a clear idea and identity of the team, what it should be. And then once they got together, not working together and figuring out the identity and what Chris wants to do with the team. I think it falls for every Paxton, for every Georgie, for every Zach, for every whatever good player you want to name on the Rapids. There's 2-3 bad additions that come along with that player. It's never we got 3 good players and 5 good ones and 5 decent ones. It's we got 3-4 good additions, then we got 10-15 bad additions on the other end. It's too lopsided, and that falls down on management. But it also comes down on ownership. And I will give credit to Porig for what he has to work with. He has done a really good job. But it's also, you can do a better job and work closer with your coach, because it seems to be a disconnect with every coach that comes in. And I have the stats right here. Ever since Porig has taken over the team, I tweeted this out. I think when Georgie got rid of, they've missed the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6, including this year.
That's 6 times in 9 years.
in 10 years.
10 years.
That's 6 times in
9.
Well, that's from 2015.
He became a GM in 2017.
Correct, but I'm counting 2016 and 2015 because he was a part of the organization and he was helping out. So I'm just counting all. So 6 out of 10, him being part of the organization. Yeah. And they've only won the Rocky Mountain Cup 3 times in that span.
Yeah.
And that's including a short in 2020 season. That's what, 3-4 head coaches in that same span? And still no results? At what point do you look at management and being like, what are we doing wrong? And stop blaming the coaches because they're out the door immediately when they don't get results. Yet the management that puts these guys in, that puts the players in these positions, keeps having a job. Or maybe you add another person to that front office that can help out.
Doesn't just keep having a job, has been promoted to team, right? Like
president.
You're going back to before he was even the GM, then was promoted to GM, then has been promoted to team president.
And then
has hired his own GM and stayed in-house with those hires.
And it's like over and over again. But that's also an ownership for not committing to a new plan, a new identity, trying to figure things out, and also maybe giving Porig a little bit more money and being like, go spend the big bucks. Go bring in 2-3 Georgies, not just one. Go bring in the players that can make us into a contender. Because we were talking about this in our Slack. It's a new MLS. It's a brand new MLS. It's the quick turnaround. We got to spend money. Look at the Miamis. Look at LAFC. Look at Columbus. They're all spending the big bucks. They're not all just trying to slow build it. Even Philadelphia, who slow built it for about 4 or 5 years, had 2 bad years, fired Jim Curtin, and then went to invest every penny they had on brand new players that are all worth $5-7 million, not just on average. And they're like, we're turning this around right now. The Rapids don't do that.
Helps when you can sell, Aronson or the Aronsons and McGlynn and bring in that kind of money. Porig has started to do that with Bombi, with Georgie, bringing in some record sales, and then to the ownership's credit, but being able to reinvest all of that. So I think that's a positive in the Porig category. I think it's a positive, the R2 development they've been able to do. But yeah, I mean, the other thing we were talking about in our Slack is like, if he doesn't have that 21-22 season where they're the 1 seed and, they get the bye to the second round and then lose in that awful Thanksgiving game, at the end, what does Porig have to show for his tenure? Because again, 4 playoff appearances in 10 years. That one's an embarrassment on Thanksgiving. Last year, it's almost like better not to mention the playoffs last year because that was such an embarrassment, man.
I completely forgot about them.
Disgusting. And I get it. The Galaxy went on an all-time run and were like clearly the champs, but the Pids were not in the same league as that team. So not talking about miss me with the talking about playoffs.
It's also they lost to that bad team again this year, 3-0 in LA, and it's like in a playoff race. Mm-hmm.
And the Rocky Mountain Cup stuff, I think, matters a lot.
They've won it this year, but with the loss. How does that feel?
So, and then it's like that's the fun thing of the blame game is like everyone's kind of enabling the next guy, right? So Porig was a bit of an enabler for Armas and how these 2 years went.
Armas, Frazier, Pablo.
Totally.
Like, how far do you want to go?
Right,
like, how far has he enabled?
And the ownership is an enabler for Porig, right? Because they like that. It seems to me they like having the fewest DPs in the league.
They love it.
And building through cheap and like not having to invest too much in the team. And
meanwhile, Arsenal just spent like record.
No, I know. And then
I get it's different levels.
The other thing with Porig is like it is one of the lowest payrolls in the MLS. Mm-hmm. So making the playoffs 40% of the time maybe is more of a badge of honor than it is with 20 other teams in the MLS who are far outspending the Rapids. And Porig like firing Armas, and we're like, well, I hope he doesn't in 2 years. We're like, oh, he sure is doing well in his next stop. I feel like Porig in some of these teams that spend a lot of money but don't get any results could really cook.
That's something that like you're right. Like that's
like, are we lucky to have him? And he could far outperform these results if he was in a place where they actually spent money.
And that's something you've like got me thinking on, like because we talked about this a few weeks back again, and you told me like for what he has, he's doing a good job. And I completely agree. But it's also, if you keep firing coach after coach, you're putting that coach in spot in that place. Like, why doesn't the coach have the same leash as you? That's the thing that's frustrating. You get this leash, but no coach gets this leash. And I thought Armas was a bad hire. If you have so much amount of money, go invest in a real coach. Go invest in a top tier coach, and that way you can actually develop. That way you can spend less on the roster because you have a development, a guy that can get these guys to their highest peak, get you a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th seed consistently, and then you can start building like the Philadelphia Union did, Jim Curtin and all this. Like, that's my frustration. The money on players, I completely understand. It's the leash on those coaches and not hiring the right coach over and over and over again. That's the most frustrating part.
And that's maybe something that isn't talked enough about the Padraig tenure is not getting the coach right.
I think but that's part of it. And we talked about this earlier this week, is that we don't know what the measure of success is, right? What's the accountability? Because what you hear from the club is it's always like, well, last year we made it to the playoffs and this year we're right there fighting for a playoff. And I'm like, well, if that's the measure of success, like we're doing pretty good. Well, and I only go since 2017. So 3 playoff appearances in 9 years. That's 30%. None of those playoff appearances were wins. And it's not a good...
I do think the round 1 bye, there's a bit of an asterisk because you do technically get the regular season performance gets you.
It's not a win though. You didn't play a game. You just just didn't get beat earlier.
You get what I'm saying though.
It's you just got bumped to a later game, but it's like we don't know if we would have won the game before that. We just luckily got a bye.
Sure.
But the 3 playoff games in 9 years that we have had have all been losses. We will now be on our 6th coach in 9 years. I just don't, for me, it's what is the measure of accountability? What stands as, what stands as successful? What lets you keep your job in KSE? And it's, I jokingly said, when we were talking earlier, is it actually winning things or is it just remembering to turn the stove off before you leave the house so things don't completely burn down? I think we're certainly at that latter one for sure. And again, like we've said, there's been some good moves. There's been some great players who, truly like head turning players who have come into the Rapids organization over the last few years. And there's been, a lot of, and blame it on owner or blame it on GM, whoever. I mean, there's a little bit of both, but there's a lot of players of, well, we think this guy might be good. And that's part of sports. Every sports team and every sport.
That's the Padraig way,
brings guys in that maybe they'll be good. But I think maybe they'll be good. I think, again, you look at 9 years and only 3 playoff appearances, all losses. The data says maybe they're good, but probably they're not. Well, because the results aren't there on that. Let's cross our fingers and hope that things work out. They're not working out.
Yeah, and how many of those maybes have turned into they are's? Like, they are good. Like, very rarely. Like, how many can you actually name?
Zach.
But, like, Zach was already a USMNT guy. They spent money on Zach. he's a TAM player. Sure. They spent $5 million. They're not maybes.
But Zach could have been Sam.
He could have. But, like... But, like, Sam is not it's not a TAM player.
No.
He has a little bit more of a pricier tag. But, like, those guys, you actually the guys you've invested in and are good and have had a track record turned out to be good for the Rapids too.
Yeah.
The guys that are maybes, I can maybe think of Connor Ronan, and that's about it. A maybe that turned into
who's been good this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little off last year. Yeah.
Like.
Well, and that's where, I see James in the chat saying, no, it's Drew talking about, hoping the next head coach isn't afraid to make the tough choices and bench guys as needed. And what you're saying about Porig, that's where I think it comes back down to ownership. Is your hands are kind of tied in both these positions of you can't necessarily go out and get good players. You have to take these gambles on these guys. You know, you're forced into a position. So I think it's maybe not all equal parts blame game. It's it's top down. I mean, the further up the food chain you are, the more blame you deserve.
For sure. I kind of go 60-30-10. Right.
Exactly.
And I don't blame Armas a lot, but it's like ownership gets 60, management gets 30, and coach gets 10 for not being able to put the right people out there to at least get some sort of result.
Yours is way more balanced than mine, but you're probably right. Mine's probably 85-90% ownership.
Yeah, and if you told me that, I could get to that spot, honestly. Like, I could hear the argument, but how we're talking about other teams have been able to be okay with the same payroll, Philadelphia included. Like, that's the example right away. But you also look at the coaching hires and none of them being able to work out in Colorado. So that's
and then working out other places.
Yeah. And then that's where I look. I'm like, that's on Porig, right? Like that has to. Yeah. That's not just ownership. That's also where like the blame starts shifting a little bit more towards management. But it's at the end of the day, if you have try going to a Louis Vuitton store with $10, you're not gonna walk away with anything. But go to Dollar Tree, right. You're gonna go to Dollar Tree and buy 10 things, right?
Yep.
9 with taxes.
Shout out Dollar Tree.
And maybe one of those things turns into a Labubu.
Exactly. No, literally. And maybe one of those things is a fly swatter like we have downstairs and it helps you out on a daily. The other 8 end up in the trash by the end of the week. Yep. And that's literally what it is for Porig right now. So Which is no way
to build a successful club.
And I do have some sympathy for him. I really do. But it's also like the coaching part's the one that really gets to me because he's had chance after chance. Take some of that payroll and put it towards a good coach. That's the thing
and the other thing is he's really good at manipulating and making things fit in to how MLSy roster construction is. Well, the advantage for any capped league is that there's no cap on what you pay for a head coach. It's where you can go and spend some extra budget, and you don't need TAM, GAM, you don't need DP spots, you don't need international spots. Just go out, splash some damn cash.
Going kind of cheap.
Like the value of your franchise only keeps rising. Make that argument to your ownership and go splash some cash.
All you need is a couple like $3 million more. Then because you shortchanged Armas because he was a disgraced coach and nothing against Armas. That's not. But like the perception around him was he is not good. He has a horror. So like you were able to get him on a cheaper deal instead of trying to go look for the guy and being like, that guy has a track record. Let me spend the $3 million more and bring in the guy. Let me go bring in somebody.
He fit the same land of misfit toys, which is the roster construction, and applying that to the coaching maybe isn't what you need. But I think that's a perfect transition for who we'd love to see as the next head coach, which is what the chat wants to hear us talk about and get into. So, Dion, if you want to bring up that graphic, these are a few names we're throwing out there. Obviously, it's very early, but it's what the people want. So why not get into it?
We can talk about whatever because we literally have zero info right now on the coaching search.
But I think those 4 names we have there are very strong.
Yeah,
and all make a lot of sense. And you've cited Jim
Curtin,
a couple times, and he would be perfect to kind of be aligned with what the philosophy has been for this front office under Porig. So is that your number 1 candidate, Yahya?
If I'm being honest, I think he's like 1A.
Okay.
And it's going to sound really stupid because we've been talking about going to get a splashy hire this whole time. One guy that I would be interested besides Jim Curtin, who I think would be a really good hire for the reason that he has gone through this kind of system. He's built something like this similarly. I don't know if he wants to do it again, which would be the biggest thing because how I did say, there's a new MLS. You don't get that slow build anymore that Philadelphia was able to do. Now it's a quick turnaround. You got to spend the money. Who knows if he wants to slow build it again? And that would be up to management and coach to figure that out together. But the other guy that would be an internal hire that would be my 1B is not even Chris Little. It's Eric Boucher of Rapids 2, who has the Rapids 2 in the Western Conference Finals, and has developed a relationship with a lot of these young kids the Rapids have brought in as a youth development. It's not a splashy hire. It's not great. But if you want to slow build it, why not build it with the guys you already have inside your organization? Bring up a KSB, bring us a Nagagu, bring up all these guys that you've drafted and worked out, Alex Harris, and build it from within. If that's what you want to go with, why wouldn't you just promote the guy that already has that going for him and knows how these guys play and has a rapport with Ollie, has a rapport with Yappy, has worked with Sam and Cole in the past? It would make no sense to go and bring another guy and try to work with them if that's the way you're trying to go with the youth and from bottom up.
I like that a lot. Yahya from the top rope. Do you have a top candidate or a guy who's the top your wish
I will
list?
take the other side of what Yahya just said, even though you think it's from the top rope. I think Rapids 2 has been successful this year, and then a couple years ago, last year, not so much. I always wonder, we talk about Rapids 2 a lot because they're successful, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't get to talk about that with the first team very much. So I think that the talk of Rapids 2 is really good for MLS Next Pro, right? I'm not sure the bulk of those players would be top level or even starters at the pro level, at the top flight for MLS. So I am sometimes, I'm a little iffy on putting all of the eggs in the R2 basket, because I don't think, like any sport, most players don't get to play in the pro level. Some get close, and that's R2. You know, they're in the club, but not, I mean, how many of those guys have we really seen come up to the top squad, the one squad, and play significant minutes? You know, not too many. And certainly not enough to build a whole team around.
Sure.
So it's great for development, but like not a lot of teams come asking for these players out of R2. Like we don't see a lot of moves going back and forth. That's nothing against, you know, him being the coach. He's a fantastic R2 coach. Obviously they wouldn't be playing in the Western Conference Finals if he wasn't doing a great job. Knocked off one of the top teams, you know, given they had a red card, but they still, like, you know, buckled down and got it done to score 2 goals late to win that game in overtime. My question is with Jim Curtin, who I think would be great if this really is the way that the Rapids are going to, if this is going to be their identity. Certainly Brian Crookham has talked about it.
Unless
Porig
we're
has talked about
surprised
it.
tomorrow in the presser and Porig steps
said,
down and
"No,
gives
we're
his
a money club now."
resignation.
Yeah.
I think it's smart to assume this is the path we will continue on.
And that's where I'm getting to, is like, all intents and purposes, like, this is probably what the Rapids, you know, plan is for future. You got to give a Jim Curtin time to do a slow build. You can't do a 2-year contract and say, get it done, because a slow build is a slow time. You have to give him a 4-year, 5-year contract. So you're put in that weird place where the Rapids clearly don't want to do that. Didn't want to do that with Chris. Most, you know, coaches that they keep and have those like extended contracts, usually we end up getting rid of that coach and then having to pay them while they're not the coach anymore. So you have to be, whoever this coach is, if that's the Rapids strategy, it's going to have to be a longer contract, and there's going to have to be a commitment to that. And if that's Jim Curtin and they want to put out that longer contract and say, this is it, win or lose, this is it. We're not going to keep changing our minds over and over again. Like, we're sticking to the identity. We're sticking to the vision. This is going to be a slow build to do that. Then that coach has to stay for a while, even if we don't make the playoffs, in a very easy league to make the playoffs. He's going to have to stay there and continue to coach to continue this slow build. So like that's where the weirdness is in it, And so I don't know.
I also think this is the most important hire of the Porig tenure.
Yeah,
That's what
we
said
thought it
last
was
time.
last time. That's
Yeah,
literally the words we used for Chris.
This one,
But here we find ourselves again.
And I mean, again, Chris, I don't think, if I were to grade the hire, I don't think it was a bad hire.
No.
I don't think
In
it was
retrospect,
a good hire.
I mean,
think
record-wise,
it
it's
was
his
about-
best hire.
It was about a mid hire.
It was a hire. Hire site. It was just a hire.
Yeah.
It
No,
got
I
the
mean,
job done. It like
Yeah.
And that's the thing I keep coming back to is like with all the criticism that I think is warranted and can be made, I do always feel like, boy, it could be a lot worse.
and you're completely right. And
Could be a lot worse, man.
And I think Duane's completely right with my Eric Boucher thing. Like, it wouldn't be a splashy thing, and he might not be a good coach. The only reason I would put him as why I won't be is because if that's how they're trying to build, if they're trying to slow build, why not slow build with a guy that already has the relationship with the guys? And it's all about relationships, and that's the only reason I would be cool with
That
that.
gives you part of that 4-year contract already if you want a shorter contract.
Exactly. Like,
He's already got years built into the system.
and that's kind of my thought. But that would just be a cop out for these guys, and that's another reason that I'm also like iffy on it, because I don't want to cop them out again. I don't want them to have an easy out and be like, well, he was an R2. No, I want a good hire. If I'm being honest, my dream hire is like, and you're gonna talk about it, Pep Guardiola. Go splash a bunch of money and try to bring him. You have the richest owners.
Don't
in
think
all
it's
of,
happening, but yeah.
Neither do I, because you're not willing to spend any money, and Pep
would be
doesn't.
I think
So
if they
wild.
hired Pep, maybe
would
it's
be
to coach
wild.
Arsenal first.
Yeah,
but, you
and
know,
it's
I mean,
like- and it's
sign
like-
me up.
And it's like maybe they hired Pep for Arsenal, and then you bring Mikel Arteta to Commerce City. The question is, can he do it on a cold Saturday night in Commerce City? You know,
Can you, Pep? Treble time.
like, but it's like that's part of it. Like you need a coach. The coach is going to be the only thing that's going to save this regime.
Yeah, for sure. Curtin to me is exactly what you're looking for. Again, philosophically, I love that we get to talk about, cover a club that's doing it in a sustainable way, in a way where you are building through R2, you are building through the draft. You're not just like, I would truly hate to be Toronto and see them make these splashy moves, and then it doesn't work out at all. And okay, let's do more splashy moves and see if that works out, and just keep doing this cycle over and over, and just being like spoiled kids who aren't happy with their PlayStation and Xbox.
We're ethical. It's an ethical build.
It's yes.
That's what it is.
Curtin allows you to lean into that all the way, and added bonus, he's worked with PAX before, which,
Yeah.
guys, you cannot lose that investment. You cannot in 2 years sell them for the same amount you bought them for, or God forbid, less. Paxton has to hit. There are no, like, you've invested in a young player, you're leaning all in on the potential. You need him to hit. You need Cole to hit. You need Yappy to hit. Like, the only path forward in an ethical football, in a sustainable model, is if these guys hit, man. And on top of that, I need Bombi to do some stuff in Europe and get signed by Pep in a couple years and make, on a record 50 million fee, and we rake in whatever percentage we're on the books for. Like, you need all these things to happen. And Jim Curtin's the guy who I think gives you the most logical path forward, and would require more of a commitment.
Yeah.
And I think it would be on more of a level playing field with Porig. Now, those dynamics might get a little messy, but maybe they need to get a little messy. Maybe you need someone who can stand up to Porig to some extent and pull their weight and demand that, like, look, yes, the youth movement's right, but I need a damn left back, and you're going to get me a left back if you want to compete for a playoff spot this year. Vermees, you could do a lot worse.
I love Vermees.
I think he'd be a great hire. He was the top name for me as we are coming up with this stuff. Is he too much old MLS? Is he too much just another variation, a more successful variation of the same thing we've tried for the last 9 years.
If I'm honest, that feels like too much American soccer.
Yep.
And that's not a knock on
And
American
we
soccer.
are Team USA, right?
We're ruining USA with every signing.
100%. I was
So
seeing
that's why Paxton has to hit.
Baudry getting some hate on the U20 performance.
He gets hate just because he's
These
a Rapid.
scumbags. God, I hate them all. By the way, AC Milan going to war with Poach and the USMNT. So my rant last show was very much warranted.
Time has vindicated you, Andre.
At least it's American on American crime.
After that, Chris Little, it sends the exact wrong message. Honestly, I rather you would have just extended Chris at that point.
Yeah.
Not because they're both named Chris, but because it's just a little too much of the same. Vicente Sanchez, intriguing.
I like
Intriguing.
Vicente. I'm just like, is he too used to the good life?
You're
Cruz Azul is willing to spend the money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, is he gonna be okay with having a $5 million player or a bogus player where he just spent $10 million? Like, is he gonna be comfortable?
He's familiar with the Rapids, so he knows, he knows the game here.
But as a coach, it's very different as a player because as a player,
Well, I'm just saying he knows that he's
of
not going
course.
to get that.
Well, like he's okay with like spending less because he's playing with the Rapids, but is he okay with not getting the player he wants? Because
Well, that's what I mean. He knows he's probably not.
I
Because
know
he's already been in the organization.
But that's what I mean. Like, I don't think he'll be okay with it. Like, even if
Yeah.
he knows it, that doesn't mean he'll be fine with it.
Totally. Then, I mean, Klopp would be the dream. Who knows? Maybe a little American vacation would do him well. I think he'd fit our vibe, but obviously that's not happening.
It's also like you look
it
at
would
it's
show
like,
tremendous ambition.
we're talking about like,
Would it? Jurgen
Yeah.
Klopp coming in.
but it's also like you look at it and it's like, oh, we need the Rapids to be ambitious and try to go get somebody that's a high end coach. But it's like, what's your selling point? What do you have to sell them? The only thing you have to sell, it's Paxton.
Rapid man.
But like,
Yeah,
like,
nice.
what are you gonna tell him? Come play with Paxton. We're not gonna give you a lot of opportunities to win money, and you get job security. But the stadium's falling apart. The fan base can be sometimes, and we're not gonna give you all this money.
Shout out to you guys.
Like, and that's nothing against the fan base. It's just we are desperate for wins. So if you don't get them, you're gonna have somebody at your throat immediately.
Yeah, it's sports though.
It is, but like,
And
at the
honestly,
same time,
like, as bad as you think it is, like, this is pretty friendly.
no, but at the same time, it's like you add that to already not having money, stadium's falling apart, ownership doesn't show up, and you have a very limited roster. What's the appeal of this job except for Paxton?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, what are you? And then you have Porik who keeps firing coach after coach after coach, and he's still in charge. Like, what's your security that he won't do the same to you, even after you hire Frazier and you give him a long contract and he still gets fired like 2 years into it?
Klinsmann would be another one I'd be very intrigued by. Could, throw his weight around. Obviously has some connections with his tenure in the USMNT. Has been out of the game for a minute. One kind of low-key coach I'd throw out there is former Montreal player, Alessandro Nesta, obviously World Cup winner, legend. He coached Miami's NASL team before Inter Miami was out there for 2 years, was a 1 seed, got eliminated in the playoffs, and has had coaching stints around Italy and stuff. I know his family lives in the U.S. They live in Miami. I mean, the dudes used to Rome, Milan, Miami. I don't know if Commerce City is the vibe.
right there.
But he's in the mix. He's familiar. He has some thoughts on the MLS and soccer in America. Would be intrigued by that hire. He's also one of my faves. We could do an all-Italian podcast. So
We should go try to get under that Pirlo while we're at it.
he's coaching in Saudi right now.
Yeah.
I did some research on Pirlo, another ex-MLSer. So I don't think you have the cash to splash and steal him.
I would steal Rafa Marquez too. He's coaching in Mexico. He's helped turn around that international squad. Efrain Juarez, so we're talking about nationals, like that's another guy that won a cup in Copenhagen, came to Pumas, has done well for them. Like there's
You've
a bunch
got
of
a
options.
challenger with Cole's left foot there to your take.
Coast Left Foot, though, was chiming in that he just wants to see a hire before Christmas. How much does the timing
bottom
of
one.
this all matter to you guys?
Bottom
No, I
one.
know. I'm talking about
okay.
the other comment he wrote.
Oh, okay.
And I'm asking you a question, Duane.
Oh, do I
Lock
think it
in,
needs to
buddy.
happen before Christmas? Yes, because the season's going to start in January because of
The World Cup.
The World Cup.
You actually need it by November.
This is going to be a quick ass hire.
You don't
There
have
is no time. There's not one of those like last time with Chris. We're doing a worldwide search and we're going to make sure we get it right. Well, I mean, obviously you're probably going to say that again, and that's great. We want you to get it right. But yeah, this is going to be a quick turnaround because training is going to be starting very early this year. The off season is going to be very short. Coming into a World Cup year, these decisions are going to happen super duper fast.
It has to.
Christmas, I believe your Christmas wishes will come true.
I think it has to be way before. I think Thanksgiving. Like you literally have to hire somebody immediately, and it shouldn't take you that long. You already went through the search 2 years ago. What much could have changed in 2 years? Like you did it.
It's just like fire up the old PowerPoint.
Like,
Come on,
problem.
dude.
That's
Bring
what
up
we've
the
been
old
talking about.
candidates. They know what we're offering. Let's see what's going on. Hit them up one more time.
Open
Booty
the
call at
old-
midnight. Like, hey, hey, big head, how you doing? Like,
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, if the turduckens hitting as you're driving to a lonely parking lot, it's again the living in your car because your wife left
Sure,
you analogy.
Mutually.
By Thanksgiving, Cole Bassett's left foot, we have done something wrong. So move the holiday, Thanksgiving or bust.
Love that.
And I don't know, they've been quick on the
Thanksgiving or bust.
turnaround with these signings. So we'll see. We don't have much time, but roster move you most would like to see.
Rafa gone. And that
You
hurts
want to see that.
I do. I think it's money that
Yikes.
could be spent in other ways. I love Rafa. Rafa's a top tier player in my opinion. He is in the top tier echelon of strikers. I think Yappy's ready to take that next step. You can get that money invested in somewhere else in the club. And I
Yappy
think that's
forever.
the selling point of this.
I just want a winger, man. I want a winger so bad.
Same as it ever was.
Yeah.
I'm still wanting a winger.
Give Rapid Man wings, Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a winger. I don't know what to say. We said this all last off season. If I hear we like what we got, we're going to build from there, which was the message we got last off season. I'm going to jump in front of a Toyota.
If another Sam Bassett signing, love Sam, hope to see big things from him next year, is your headliner this offseason, threat level midnight as far as concern level for me going forward. I also think Hafa is the big turning point and the one to watch for in that January window, which also makes it tricky because it is a window in January and the season starts early.
Until January though.
Totally.
So like you could definitely have some teams prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I just think Yappy's ready. I think you have Yappy in the wings that you could sell for even more in the future.
I know,
but with Rafa
Could
gone,
we have more than 2 strikers on this squad?
Alex Harris is there too. I think he's had a good
I
Rapids
knew
too.
he was bringing
Like,
up Alex.
I like Alex
He's been.
Harris.
I don't think there's people in Alex's family that believe as much as Yahya.
I
believes.
really do
know.
like him quite a bit, and I think he brings something to the table that a lot of Rapid strikers don't bring right now. So I think if you sell Rafa, it's a risk, but you can invest that money in a winger, a DP winger, and I think you have a better, more spread out talent up top instead of just having one guy on top doing all the work.
Let the kids play, man. Let's just go full Porig mode. Just let the kids play. Go wild on them.
Go Buck.
Go Buck. Sam Bassett, Alex Harris, KSB, unleash them on the world.
Wayne Frederick.
Oh, that's the one guy you can't let go, Buck. He gets red cards and we lose in Portland.
Wayne, be safe out there, okay? You're living dangerously. Well, fellas, that's all we had time for today. Yeah, we'll be tuning into the presser. We'll see if there's anything noteworthy and cover it accordingly. And I hope
R2
to have
Sunday at the Dick.
Sunday at the Richard. Get her done, R2.
Come down.
Yep, come on down. Support the boys. It is very cool that we at least have that to be proud in.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back in 2 weeks and hopefully a lot of updates to come. And if not, we will be raging on this show accordingly. But appreciate all the regular homies tuning in. Leave us a thumbs up on the way out. And always and forever, even in these circumstances, what do we say, Duane?
Up the
Pids.
pids.
Up the pids, baby. Up the
We all silly like the mayor.